The ad world has a certain reputation, doesn't it? But it sounds like that reputation's well deserved.
Yeah, look, probably any industry with a lot of problems, there are some amazing humans in it doing great things. But the big core of everything is the amount of hours put in. I often tell people that I feel like if you sleep deprived Michael Jordan and made him shoot some layups, you probably miss some of them. But we just continually do it. I think probably more than most other industries. I think that's where a lot of the rut comes from, is just the hours and the grind, and you build all this camaraderie with people, and you almost want to go to work and spend time, but it's 70 hours. It doesn't matter how happy you think you are, your work's just not going to be up to par. And so it's, and all that stuff catches up to you. So it's definitely something I think advertising's probably earned. I was told by my mother and brother, don't section off the way you feel about someone because of gender or religion or sexual preference. They told me that in my small little bubble, but the big bubble kind of said something different. So until I actually moved out of the South, which Chicago is the first place that I went, when I actually moved there for the first time, I was exposed to all these different ways of life. I think I really was able to understand oh wow, everybody in this melting pot is actually pretty amazing. There's some beautiful people out here, and until I really looked at everybody that way, I couldn't be a leader. So I say it's the biggest leadership lesson I've ever learned, because it took me 30 years to really learn it, beaten into my skull. But your environment, man, has such an impact on you that no matter what I was taught at home, it's just you start to question, and you start to evolve to what's around you. And the second I was exposed to other walks of life, I was like, what type of sham have I been in my entire life? And having that awakening was definitely, it took me from wanting to being a leader and thinking I was one to actually being one, I think. Stop depending on annual reviews to give career molding feedback to the people you lead and manage. Start making it a very recurring thing, especially with your junior people, to have conversations, constant meetings. Don't talk about development once a year. Talk about it throughout the year. Don't make people wait a year to know if they're going in the wrong direction or where they stand. And what sucks about that whole waiting a year thing is if your manager sucks, the culmination of that year usually just results in an annual review that doesn't do anything for you in the first place, doesn't really help you along your goals, or really leaving you feeling like you have pure steps to move forward with. And I unfortunately see in a lot of junior employees, there's some developmental stuff missing, because we're waiting till once a year and taking them in this conference room and going down a checklist without really looking at them and then moving them along the way. It's for that once a year meeting, it might not be big for you, it's huge for them. Take them out to a sushi restaurant and talk to them. Make that more of a culmination and an event, but don't depend on that for feedback. You should be having these type of meetings 4, 5, 6, 7 times a year, not once a year. So that would be, I guess, my one, pass it down to leader. If just everyone did that, the next crop or the crop under that of junior talent that's growing just be so much more refined, and then they'll treat the next people the same way. So we just kind of start dominoes down a different path, The best leadership exists when it's multiple layers of good leaders, the product under that. That to me has been the best experience of leadership in the workplace. When I went to San Francisco, I had just the most amazing leader over me who 15 years later was in my wedding. But he was still learning too. But like right above him was this other layer of who I consider a few legends that were just like supplanting what was above me. And so I would see my leader getting refined, and then it would get passed down to me. And I feel like once that stuff goes through like a filter or two of refinement before it gets you, that's just the person that receives that is getting the best experience of leadership. It's like the voltron of leadership was created.